And here we are. Welcome back to the Registered Sophomore, where we never sit out. We are your hosts, MD and CD. Today we got another mock draft for you. Mock draft, what is it, 2.0? 2.0, a
Mock Draft
couple weeks
2.0.
out. Let me tell you, mock draft 1.0, you guys can check that out. It got a little bit out of hand, to be honest. When I look back at it, I'm like, hey, maybe not some of my best work. But the way this works here, we alternate picks. So last time I was the evens. This time I'll be the odds. So, and there will be trades allowed. Last time we only allowed trades for quarterbacks and receivers. This time we'll allow trades for everything. And I've thought about some good trade up spots. I think there's a lot of good trade up spots. And I'm very, very excited to do this. Make sure you guys, if you guys are watching this and you like the content, like the video, it's a very simple rule that we have here, right? And if you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing. Helps us out big time. We're on our way. We're almost at 230 subscribers. That's insane. By the way, if you were telling me 6 months ago that we'd be at 230 subscribers by April, I would have been like, that's crazy. You're nuts. You're out of your mind. But yeah, thank you guys so much on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you give us a follow and 5-star rating. But I would encourage you, the production level of these videos has kind of gone up these last couple of weeks. So I would encourage you to maybe check us out on YouTube. Even if you don't listen to us all the time there, if you would subscribe there as well, that'd be appreciated very much. CD, what's going on?
Nothing much. Excited to get back into it. Love the NFL draft. Love that we're changing up and we pick for different teams here. It's interesting just how like one little pick here and there at the top of the draft could just change exactly how the rest of the draft goes in our mock draft here. So I'm excited to get into this. Like Matthew said, like and subscribe. Continue supporting our channel and let us know in the comments, what we did right, what we did wrong, what you want to see elsewhere. So yeah, we love interacting with you guys. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Are you ready to get into it?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's go. I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to take Caleb Williams. I mean, this is everyone's been talking about it. Brian Poles and the group were at the pro day, right? This is no secret anymore. They traded away Justin Field. This is going to happen, guys. Okay, like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. This is as lock as it was when you had Trevor Lawrence going 1-1. This is that much of a lock. You know who is going 1-1 here.
Yeah, Caleb Williams makes sense. I mean, it's the right pick, and obviously, it sounds like that's consensus as well. Number two, I'm up with the Washington Commanders, and when our last one, we took Drake May, I believe, and to me, I think that's the right pick. And at the time, I thought that was what was going to be, and come to find out that Brian Kelly basically spoiled that Daniel's going to be a Commander. You got all these things going around with Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels ties to Washington. And so I'm going to go Jaden Daniels here. I think that's not necessarily what I would do in this pick, but I think for the sake of changing it up, but also following the tea leaves and all that stuff, like Jaden Daniels, number two to the Commanders.
Absolutely. And then I think the Patriots are could trade down from here, but not if Drake May is still on the board. If Drake May is still on the board, the Patriots are sticking and picking Drake May from North Carolina quarterback. I mean, in my opinion, he is the second best quarterback in this draft class. He's a stud. What you also love about him, big size, big arm, production, despite lack of talent. And I think he's a good guy too. I think he's a good guy. He didn't have to
Apparently, the
stay in North
interviews he
Carolina.
crushed. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a lot of teams are high on Drake May. For some reason, I mean, people are like, "Oh, he's not a winner." What do you did Caleb Williams win 10 games? No, he won 7 games. Did Jaden Daniels win 10 games in the regular season? No, he won 9. Like, what is with this? What is with this quarterback? And that is important. Got to have that it factor, right? But let me tell you, these three quarterbacks did enough to help their teams win. And in all three of their instances, their defenses let them down big time in important moments. So I like Drake May a lot. At 4, what are you doing? What are you? This is interesting.
I think here, I don't know if the Cardinals, just with how deep this draft is, wide receiver wise, I don't know if they really need to take Marvin Harrison, who I love. I think he is clear number one guy in this draft class. But I think with how many teams are bidding right now, you're looking at Oakland, or I'm sorry, Las Vegas Raiders and the Vikings very adamant about moving up. Even the Broncos have been tied, they don't have much to mortgage. I just think the bidding price is going to get to a spot where it's too good for the Cardinals to pass. And I don't know who it's going to be. In this one, I'm going to go the Vikings just because I think they have enough to offer in this draft class with number 11 and number 23, and then whatever else you have to give up to make the trade work, probably next year's first. But I'm going to have the Vikings coming up to take JJ McCarthy. A lot of ties to him. He's been a guy that's been really rising in this post or pre-draft process, postseason process. Pretty raw. You have Sam Darnold there. He fits what you know, Kevin O'Connell wants to do there in Minneapolis. So to me, I think it makes a ton of sense, and it's pretty exciting for the Vikings to go up and get their guy.
I agree. I agree. And then at 6, or sorry, 5, the Chargers are picking, and Jim Harbaugh says, "Uh, yeah, I've played against Marvin Harrison a couple times. We just traded away Keenan Allen. Mike Williams is gone. Let's just go get the best wide receiver that maybe we've seen come out of this draft in about 7 or 8 years. Let's go take Marvin Harrison Jr., throw him there on the Chargers. Is that a trade up spot for some teams? Yeah, but it's like they would also be trading up for Marvin Harrison Jr., And I think there could be a heavy bidding war there for that. But the reality is, like, I don't think that there's a lot that the Chargers would take over just taking Marvin Harrison Jr. at 5, right?
Yeah, and the price of who you're coming up to take matters in pricing. If you're coming up to take quarterback, that's going to be factored in to how much haul you're going to get in return. And in this case, there's no quarterbacks up there at the top of the draft right now. And like you said, they can stick and pick and get Marvin Harrison at 5. I don't think they're going to be too disappointed about that. So that leads me to 6 with the Giants. And I guess, you would have loved Marvin Harrison. You would have loved maybe a trade down spot for me, maybe even a quarterback to fall to you here at 6. I think it's too early for Bo Nix or Michael Penix. I'm going to go Malik Neighbors here, a guy that's really shot up in draft boards. Unbelievable pro day, unbelievable production, film at LSU against elite competition. He can do it all. The rumors that he's the number one wide receiver in this class in some people's eyes. I don't quite agree with that, but I do think the hype is real for Malik Neighbors.
Yeah. No, he's an absolute star. I've heard him tied to the Giants too, quite free. I think a lot of people have him mocked to the Giants, which I don't disagree with. I think he's really good. At 7, the Titans are on the clock. And I've seen this mocked everywhere just because of the way the board has been falling for a lot of these teams. I mean, it's Joe Alt, right? I mean, you're looking at in consensus number 1 offensive tackle in this class. There's definitely a need for the Titans at the tackle position. You're like, oh, they drafted Skronsky last year. No, he plays guard. He plays guard for them. So I think Joe Alt definitely is a need, and also just a really special talent. Anytime you're getting a Notre Dame tackle that is the best tackle in the draft class, yeah, I'll sign me up. If I was the Titans, they're probably already signed up.
You love that. And he's actually he grew in college. He was listed, he measured in taller than what he was actually listed at, which is kind of crazy. To me, the 8 with the Falcons, I would have thought about Roma Dunze here, but then you signed Darnell Mooney, you have Rondell Moore, you traded for him. You got obviously Drake London there, and hopefully you can finally start using Kyle Pitts and even Bijan on the backfield. Obviously, to pair with Kirk Cousins. I would have thought about, Joel, just because you can't pass that up, even though I like your offensive line, even though it's getting a little bit older. But I guess I got to take best defensive player available here. And it probably is going to be Dallas Turner just because of that upside he brings at the edge position. That size, weight, speed combination that he has, and production too, and an amount of reps he got, and better each year. Yeah, Dallas Turner's a freak. Fits very well with Raheem Morris and even Jimmy Lake.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Here's what I'm gonna do at 9. This is an interesting one. The Jets need a receiver so bad. I think the Bears would be happy to stick and pick Rome Dunze, but I think the Jets would be willing to trade a lot for that to take a wide receiver there at 9, specifically Rome Dunze. So I'm gonna have the Jets giving up a next year first and like the 10, 72 this year, and then next year first for this draft pick right here.
Just to make it up through. I doubt they have to give up that much just to move
Yeah,
up
it
one
might just
spot, but
well,
as long as
well, I guess
it can
what
go
was the Jalen
through.
Carter trade last year? How much did they give up? Did they give up the first and then 2 seconds? Or
They gave up they gave up 10 and then they gave up like a fourth rounder. So just about one spot it was like a fourth round pick.
okay, so yeah, I guess you're right. I'll give them 111. I'll give them 10 and 111, trading up to get to the 9. Force that trade, and the Jets will be taking Rome Odunze gladly. Pair him up there with Mike Williams, and Aaron Rodgers is a happy man all of a sudden.
Yeah, yeah,
Garrett
absolutely.
Wilson, Rome Odunze, Mike Williams. I guess I said that they need a receiver terribly, but they're definitely in the market for a receiver. That believe the rest of that roster does not look fantastic, but Rome Odunze would just be so nice there, man. I think it would be so nice.
Yeah, and the chemistry he had with Penix would be awesome to see him develop that with Rodgers, just because Rodgers is so good with back shoulders and just contested catch balls, which Roma Dune does so well. So that means the Bears at 10. And they're an interesting one here because Roma Dunze is the easy one. Dallas Turner will be easy. Malik Neighbors, obviously easy if he's on the board there. A little tough to find exactly what they need. I really like, their O line other than center. And then obviously, wide receiver core with the Keenan Allen trade, DJ Moore, and the three guys off the board. You don't really need them. I'm just gonna take, I think, best player available here, and a guy that you just can't get down the board elsewhere is Byron Murphy. And he's a Texas. He's a guy that's been climbing draft picks. He seems like just the absolute Ryan Poles match made in heaven with all he does in the run game, but also just how he can get to the passer. I know you invested a lot in Zach Pickens and Gervin Dexter a year ago. Gervin Dexter showed a lot of promise second half of the year a year ago, but I think they complement each other very, very nicely. And Byron Murphy can just do things that nobody else can in this draft
Byron
pick. And
Murphy
not
could
not
play
at
5 tech.
yeah, and what in the 4-3 that they run, I guess you could split them out there. That'd be dangerous. You could get your four best players out there.
I don't know that they would actually do that, but that probably not. But what do you? I mean, this is just best player available. If you ask me.
Yeah.
So
And you
now,
get to trade down, get some capital from the Jets. I love it.
yeah, absolutely. Gosh, Byron Murphy's so good, man. He is so good. Um, Arizona Cardinals here are picking at 11. This is an interesting one. I think the easy one to go. Look, there are a lot of needs here. Oh, I also forgot that was a good pick, Byron Murphy, because didn't Justin Jones he went to the Cardinals. So there's
Yeah, yeah.
definitely a need there. It's hard. I got two guys on my mind here. I think I'm gonna go. What are the Cardinals like? Cardinals like freak athletes.
Yeah,
Give me
Jonathan
Quinyon
Gannon.
Mitchell. Give me
Yeah.
Quinyon Mitchell here. I think this is the right pick for them. Cornerback, absolute stud out of Toledo. You've heard us talk about him a bajillion times if you've followed the show. If you haven't watched our combine recap either, Quinyon Mitchell's features in that. He was featured in our last mock draft pretty high as well. This is he's a good ball player, man. He is a good corner. Man him up. Leave him out there on an island. He did fantastic at the Senior Bowl. You're like, oh, what about this competition? He was dominating at the Senior Bowl. Dominating. Love that. Anyways, you're up at 12 with the Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos a team with a lot of needs and a lot of change coming over. Obviously, no Russell Wilson. Jerry Judy gets traded away. You're kind of revamping that with the future of Sean Payton in there. You got some pieces you like, young pieces wise on the O line. I like Marvin Mims. I love Marvin Mims, actually. You got obviously
You mean
Pat
Marius
Surtain.
Mims? Oh,
No, Marvin Mims
sorry, sorry.
on the
On the
Broncos, I'm
Broncos. Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Sorry. No, no, you're good. You're good. That was on me.
Yeah, and Mike McGlinchey you signed a year ago in free agency. Garrett Bowles, obviously, a pretty darn good left tackle in the NFL. To me, I know he went. in the second round in our last pick, our last mock draft. But I'm gonna go, and this might be a reach. Give me Bo Nix here. I think this. I've seen this a couple times, and I think the fit and the marriage between Sean Payton and what Bo Nix can do is. I'm not gonna say Drew Brees-esque, but with Bo Nix, when he plays in structure and he goes through his reads very, very well. I think Sean Payton would really, really like that. And I want to say that they're desperate time, but they don't have the capital to trade up for a guy. And another year of not of underperforming and down at the bottom of the draft class, you don't want to be finding yourself there. Bo Nix is ready to play right away.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Here with the Raiders, this is interesting because I think someone could trade up for a receiver here. It's definitely a trade up spot, but also at the same time, there's a lot of holes on this team. Oh gosh, that's the hard part with picking for teams like the Raiders. It's like there are so many holes. Like there's so many ways that you could go about this, right? I mean, am I alone in thinking that? Like I'm looking
Yeah,
at a guy like Terry and Arnold. Like I feel like he could go here. Um,
any of the O linemen,
any of the old linemen, like
even yeah, the Raiders are a tough one.
yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take. Where's this guy? Oh, sorry, I had the filters off. Give me Terry and Arnold at corner.
Yep.
Supreme athlete, very good. Can play nickel, can play boundary. Like what do you want him to do? He will do it at a high level. Certainly a guy that surged this year, struggled at Bama, during his first year starting there, but absolutely his athleticism on the tape is just nuts. And I think the Raiders would be happy to take another Alabama player, which I know that they like doing a lot.
Yeah, they've had success. Maybe some reaches
Well,
there
they've
with
had,
Leatherwood, but
I guess the
but
only success really is Josh Jacobs because you got Henry Ruggs and Alex Leatherwood.
yeah, I guess uh, for sure, for sure. I have 14 with the Saints. Another team kind of tough to pick for. You're kind of in no man's land with Derek Carr. You're stuck there with his contract and the future of him. You got some good pieces all over. You signed Chase Young. You signed Willie Gay. You still have Chris Olave, who I love. Your O line is kind of banged up and getting older. To me, I think if you can get your second best tackle in this draft at 14 in a draft where I really like these guys, and I think this is where they start going. There's gonna be a run on tackles, there's gonna be a run on wide receivers, even corners as well. Maybe some edge guys. Like there's like groups that are pretty darn strong in the middle of the first round with the Saints here. I guess it's kind of who you like. I think Fuaga is probably the best tackle, but he can only really play right for you. I think Olu gives you that flexibility to play kind of anywhere on the line. I think you can move him into guard if you want, but he's played left tackle. You can kick him out to right side. I'm not too worried about that. But so I'm gonna go Olu Fashano with out of Penn State.
I like that pick. I like that pick. I think last time we had Byron Murphy slipping all the way there. And I don't know. I think in hindsight, I think Olu is a good fit there. For the Colts at 15, I'm gonna do exactly what you did last time. You know, you know that they love their athletic freaks. Who
Yep.
is freakier than Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU, wide receiver? This dude is nuts. Testing off the charts. He's got size, he's got speed, he's got the contested catch ability. I think the Indianapolis Colts would be very happy to take the athlete that is Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, for all the right reasons you said, I took him last time. I think it's a perfect marriage. Um, there in Indianapolis. That brings me to the Saints at 16. I'm sorry, the Seahawks at 16. And they got some good pieces there. They re-signed Leonard Williams. I like Boy Mafe on the edge. Jerome Baker comes over from Miami. Julian Love and free safety. Obviously, you drafted Devin Witherspoon a year ago, who's a monster. Obviously, you got the wide receivers. O line is a question mark. but do I like your tackles, but do I like is this worth it taking a guard at 16? Don't really know.
It could be
Kind
if
of a
it's
tough
Graham
spot for
Barton.
you. Yeah, I guess so. But even like Fuaga or Fontenot can move inside. Um, to me, I think the Seahawks and no, I can't go Nate Wiggins. Too much medical history there and problems. It's too early to go Jackson Powers Johnson. Yeah, I guess I have to go. I'll go Troy Fontenot. I talked myself into that. He makes sense there. He can play tackle. He can play guard. He'll probably have to start in that guard, but he
Ryan
also gives you
Grubb.
flexibility. Yeah, and the Ryan Grubb connection there. Absolutely. Great point out.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And then I think I have an interesting feeling about this Jaguars pick. Like there are definitely some needs, but they signed Ronald Darby at corner. At the other cornerback, they still got Tyson Campbell, who we'll see how he develops. But at edge, they've invested a lot in edge in the last couple years in these draft classes. Sure, they could use an edge, but they signed Mitch Morse. I don't know. This is an interesting one. This is an interesting one. I think this is a trade up spot for someone that wants a tackle. Or actually, you know what? Let's just stick and pick here. Let's just stick and pick here for the Jags. Let's go. Uh wow, dude, this is tough, man. I don't know. I have no idea what to do. I mean, is it just best player available here? Like,
When in doubt, best player available. Although Trent Baalke, he loves his freaks. He
he
loves
does
his
love his
freaks.
he loves his freaks, man. I think I'm gonna go with Jared Verse here. I mean, they've invested a lot. Josh Allen's on, I believe he's getting franchise tag, if I'm not mistaken. I'm
And then
100%
Travon
sure on that.
Walker. Yeah, yeah, he's
But
a guy.
like,
I don't think he has a long-term contract with them.
yeah, so I think investing in a really good edge, Jared Verse, solid. Could definitely go higher than 17, by the way. He could go as high as top 10. We just the way that this first round is stacked though, it's like this is how the board falls sometimes. So sometimes it's just best available.
Yeah, and that's where I'm the Bengals here, and I see Talise Fuaga, and somehow at 18, where he could go as high as, you know, 9 or 10, wherever you want to see fit. But oh man, I think you have to go Fuaga here. I know you just signed Trent Brown. He is not the future at right tackle for you. Orlando Brown and Talise Fuaga, talk about some maulers on your offensive line. I think you can start him inside, at guard and move Cap over to left side, and then just work his way to right tackle whenever Trent Brown inevitably gets injured, or you kind of phase him out. Yeah, Fuaga's a monster. His tape is super fun, very aggressive player. I'm sure you know all about him. And I think Bengals fans, priority number one is sign Zach Moss, right? You have Chase Brown. You want to run the football if you're Zach Taylor, but also like you have to keep Joe Burrow upright. And I think Fuaga investing in the O line even more is worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, this is wild, man. This is wild the way this board is falling, dude. For the Rams, yeah, what they need to tackle pretty bad, right? I mean, they just signed Kevin Dotson at guard. Let's give him a tackle. How about that? Best one on the board is kind of up for debate, but I think I'm gonna go. I think give me Grant Barton. Just give me the flexibility.
Yeah.
Tackle, guard, center, whatever you wanted to play. I think that there's definitely some holes in that offensive line for the Rams. He can plug and play wherever you need him to go. Injury goes down, slide him over, whatever it is. I think Graham Barton's good. There might be a run of tackles right around this part of the draft.
That yeah, that's what I was. Oof, man. Barton. probably would have been my pick here if I was the Steelers, or I guess I am the Steelers. If he was on the board, I mean, a pretty popular one is Amarius Mims, and you pair him up with Brandon or Broderick Jones. I'm sorry, his former teammate. You kick Jones back over the left side, and you just get Dan Moore Jr. out of there on the left side of your O line for the Steelers. With the way the board's fallen, Latu makes sense, and just continue beefing up that freaky O line, or I'm sorry, edge D line, and no one else I really love here. You could think wide receiver like AD Mitchell. This is where I think his high end is right here. I think he could come in. I mean, you lose a lot, but I also think AD Mitchell and George Pickens, two former Georgia guys, right? I don't, not that there's repetitiveness, not that you can't have too many freaks like that, but I do think there's other scheme fits that are better later on the draft board for the Steelers. So yeah, I'll stick here and go Amarius Mims.
I like that. I like that. And the Dolphins are here at 21, and there's a couple of things that they can do. But I'm not letting Brock Bowers slide any further.
Yeah,
Right? I mean,
that's great.
he's
Oh,
still on the. This is how deep this first round draft class is, though. It's like Brock Bowers is still on the board because of positional value, and the Dolphins are just like, wait, we can draft another speedster at a position of need. Yeah, give me Brock Bowers at 21 to the Dolphins. That is late, by the way. Way late. I think in the last mock draft we had him.
we probably had him at 11
You
going
had him
to the
11 going to the Chargers,
yeah.
trading up in that scenario. That's wild, man. That's wild. All right, you're on the clock now with the Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles, a team that's really competing. They've done a great job drafting, especially on the interior, their D line and O line. And they've sprinkled. Somehow they have money to sprinkle everywhere with Saquon and Bryce Huff from the Jets, Devin White from Tampa Bay, C.J. Gardner Johnson. I guess it was a year ago. Oh man, I don't know. I'm thinking cornerback here. I think you almost take a risk on Nate Wiggins. I mean, I think you have to. I think Nate Wiggins, this is where he goes off because, I mean, there's some medical history there, some red flags. He got hurt at the combine. He's dealt with some injuries. He's super skinny, right? But he also is just a physical freak. Long, lanky, fast, closing speed, instinctive, everything you want in an alpha corner. And you got two guys, Bradbury and Darius Slay, that are pretty darn old. And I'm not convinced that Keely Ringo and Eli Ricks are the future. And even Josh Jobe, guys I like, but I love Nate Wiggins and what he can do for you.
Absolutely. Now, the Cardinals are in this spot at 23
And they have
as
another
a
pick at
result.
27 as well.
Yeah, as a result of that trade. Uh, someone's coming up here. Someone's coming up here because there is a big need for wide receiver. And that is going to be the Bills are coming up from 28. They get a Billy Bean gets aggressive again. Uh, he's going to trade up from 28. Let's see, they're going to give him 28 and then coming up, how many spots? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. I don't know, maybe a third, whatever. I'm not a GM, so I don't know how much these actually are worth. All right. Wait, did it not go? Oh, I traded the wrong pick. That's a bummer.
That's
That's
all
fine.
right. We can fix it in post.
Yeah, but the point is, I think the Bills are going to come up and get AD Mitchell at this spot. They're not going to wait any longer. They're not going to wait any longer because the longer you wait, the more likely it is that someone is going to come up and snag a wide receiver because there's only so many left in this first round that are really, really worth taking, I think. Now, there's a lot of deep ones. There's a lot of receivers deep in this draft, but I mean, not guys like AD Mitchell. I mean, right? You lose Stephon
No.
Diggs, you lose Gabe Davis. I mean, who's even playing receiver for them right now?
I mean, I
It's
like Matt
it's Khalil
Collins. I don't love Matt Collins, but
it's Khalil Shakur, right? And Matt Collins and Justin Shorter. Oh, Curtis Samuel. Yeah, give me AD Mitchell. They are trading up for AD Mitchell in this spot right here.
Yeah, to me, this is, and you can use the one of the picks that you got in the Diggs trade or whatever else you've done. And Billy Beane's a guy that has traded up in his time as the GM for the Bills, and this is no surprise. He
Traded for
did it
Dalton
last year with Dalton
Kincaid.
Kincaid just a year ago, and yeah, it makes a ton of sense here. Great fit for the Bills and AD Mitchell too to pair him with Josh Allen. That's 24 with the Cowboys. They're a team that's it's pretty sneaky here. I don't know exactly what their plan is going to be. They're kind of sometimes difficult to predict. Last year, the Mozzie Smith was a great pull. That was Matthew and others too. That was pretty darn good. I think this is where Jerzon Newton goes. I mean, I think you need. I know you went Mozzie Smith a year ago, but I think to pair those two next to each other with Micah Parsons, Demarcus Lawrence, and others, I think that's so dangerous. And I think
Yeah.
Newton is just too good to pass up for right now.
Now, Mozzie Smith was not that good last year, but I think the coaching staff is high on him. Like, I think the
Yeah.
coaching staff believes in him, and he'll play your nose, right? And then you can throw Jazon Newton as your pass rushing interior defensive lineman, and I think that's important, man. Like these
But
defensive interior guys, these defensive interior pass rushers are getting paid these days. Derek Brown just got paid. I mean, Dexter Lawrence
Matabuke,
getting Matabuke. You get Christian Jones. I mean, if you can find an interior pass rusher, that is absolutely invaluable. So I like that pick a lot at 24. There are a lot of holes for the Cowboys. They could go a lot of directions with that. A lot. But I definitely like where you're going with that. Now, you're looking at Green Bay. I know what everyone has been mocking to Green Bay, but I think I'm gonna go a different route.
okay.
Uh, do I want to do it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
go
gonna
for
do
it.
it. Latu Latu, man. How has he slipped
Yeah,
this far? At
that's
25?
that's
At
the right
25,
pick.
he's good. I would be terrified. As Bears fans, I'd be terrified. That is a heck of a pick. Now, is Gunther probably gonna mess up this first round pick? Yeah, it is what it is. But he'll hit on every single other pick. So that's just what it is. But we know Gunther likes first round players on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, he could draft Cooper DeJean because you can play him at safety, you can play him at corner, you can play him wherever. I could see Tyler Nubin going here. Absolutely. I could see them going Tyler Guyton on offensive line. I don't know what
Yeah,
they want. I don't know what
Latu's
they
just
want.
he's too good to pass up at this spot here.
I agree.
I think, I mean, is it crazy to take Trey Benson here at
At the
26?
for the
I think it
for the
is
Bucks.
for the Bucks. I mean, maybe he goes, but I have a hard time taking a running back in the first round unless it's just something you just cannot deny. Um, kind of getting the background here. You're looking at some needs on their roster, and it's a pretty good roster. They've done a good job there. Todd Bowles and crew. Obviously, I love Antoine Winfield, and at the back end, your secondary is pretty good. You've invested well in your front seven, especially your front four guys, or really, I guess, your front five with your outside linebackers walked up. Not a ton on the board here. I think I'm just gonna go Jackson Powers Johnson and just plug him in wherever he wants to, either interior spot. Obviously, he could play center as well, and you just kind of figure it out from there. But you you take a guy that you know for sure is going to add value to your team in 2024, and you've just paid Baker Mayfield. You might as well help him out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then at this point, I think the Cardinals are upset because I think they would have loved to have Jackson Powers Johnson in that spot. Uh, but instead, yeah, this is tough. This is tough. Hmm. With the Cardinals at 27, I think we're gonna go. Man, this is tough, dude. This is tough.
And they got back-to-back picks here, which is nice.
Yeah, we already took a corner, if you remember. We got Terry Arnold at 11, so can't be taking a corner here. I mean, you could. There's nothing stopping them, but is it crazy? Do you draft JC Latham, try to move him to guard?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think that's crazy at all.
That's not crazy. It's just weird how the board's falling for Arizona at this point. I think this is a little bit awkward for them. I mean, they could reach on a center like Zach Frazier, like a pure center. Um, or they could take a guy like Tyler Newman at safety, which,
Him and Buda Baker.
yeah, that'd be pretty good. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take Tyler Newman here for the Cardinals at 27. Is that what we had him last time?
It was somewhere in this
Yeah, we
range.
we had him at 27 in the Cardinals in the last mock draft.
And that means that I guess the Cardinals on the pick again or on the clock again. And for me, they desperately need a wide receiver. A lot of the like elite high end ones are off the board already. But there's still some value here. Yeah, and Coleman's the guy I'm really thinking about. Xavier Worthy, obviously, with that 40-yard dash, you can really get after it. But there's one guy that I just love, and I cannot pass on Lad McConkey, man. I can't do it. I cannot convince myself to take anybody else but him right now because you just know he's going to be an unbelievable separator for you in year one. And you need a lot of help with Michael Wilson on the outside. You've got Greg Dork, I guess, Chris Moore, whatever. Zach Pascal, another big body. But I think McConkey, what he can bring to that offense, and Kyler Murray over the middle, anything you want to do with McConkey, he can really do. And obviously, you walk away with three really good players for the Cardinals. It's pretty darn good.
Absolutely. And I'm not gonna think about this next pick with the Lions. It's Cooper DeJean. He's fallen this far. You're gonna take a really good corner. Cam Sutton getting a little trouble there. Over in Detroit. I don't know where he is right now. Last I heard, he's in Florida.
They found him.
And
They found him.
they found him. All right. Well, I mean, good, I guess. I don't really know what to say other than that they need a corner, essentially. And Cooper DeJean could definitely be that guy that could fit. Uh, Supreme athlete, really talented player, high production. Whatever you need him to play, he can play. So I think this is just if Cooper DeJean is there, right? If he's not there, Cooley McKinstry is a good option as well. But if Cooper DeJean is there, it's got to be Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, no, I think that's money. If I'm the Ravens, I mean, I want to do everything. I'm trying to avoid taking Chop Robinson with them just because I know they've kind of stacked guys like that. Odafe Owe and a former Penn State guy, David Ajabo, another Big Ten player, just similar, just freaky athletes. And they mold them so well and they just become these unbelievable pass rushers. You re-sign Matabuke, huge there up the middle. And Calvin Noy, I believe, got another deal as well. Your secondary is darn good. There's not a lot of holes in this roster, other than maybe another wide receiver, but we've seen them invest and it just doesn't always really come to fruition, I guess. To me, I'm gonna take Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. He's a guy I really like. Ronnie Stanley can never stay healthy for you. Jordan Morgan can play left tackle. If not, you can kick him out the right tackle where you have a need there after you lost your guy. Yeah, to me, at Jordan Morgan here at 30, a pretty good value for Baltimore.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. And then here, I think the 49ers, a little bit of a need at cornerback here. I think Cooley McKinstry is a first round grade, for sure. Yeah, I like it. I'll put Kool-Aid. Give the 49ers Kool-Aid McKinstry at 31. He's a solid football player. He's done well I mean, he didn't test as crazy as uh his teammate Terry and Arnold, but Kool-Aid McKinstry he's a good football player, man. He shut down everyone that he played against. He was fantastic. As a true freshman, he was good, and he's produced like that for 3 years.
Part of the reason why Arnold gets all this hype is because he had so many opportunities to show his ball skills because nobody was targeting Kool-Aid. And he was
Yeah.
just unbelievable for multiple years there for Nick Saban in Alabama. that leaves the defending or the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs here at 32. And I think I'm gonna do it just because I kind of have to, and I think they would be tempted to do this at 32. We've seen him take a risk, like a guy like Clyde Edwards-Helaire and whatnot. I'm gonna scroll down the draft board and get Xavier Worthy out of Texas, and you just pair that speed with a guy like Mahomes, and you have Rashid Rice over the middle, down low. You have Marquise Brown in the intermediate to deep. Justin Watson is another deep guy as well, but I mean,
We'll
you
see
just
if
can't teach that speed.
I don't know what the legal issues are with Rasheed Rice. I haven't been following that. I don't know. Is that an
I don't
issue, you think?
Potentially, but it's another reason why you could use a wide receiver, especially. I mean, I don't think Marquise Brown is a long-term guy. I think if he plays like you think he's going to play in 1 year, he's going to get a big contract elsewhere. And Xavier Worthy can be a guy that you can just really use and just. I'm not going to compare him to Tyreek Hill, but in a very niche role where he can just absolutely thrive and do things nobody else can. But you also have an offense that can put him in a position to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's I'm gonna fast forward through this. Okay, well, what do you think let's take the Panthers at
Yeah,
33.
we'll give him a pick here. Um, I mean, they just signed, like, they've done a lot in free agency, haven't they? With in the interior line, Damon Lewis, Robert Hunt. You trade for Deontay Johnson. You bring over Jadeveon Clowney. You sign back Derek Brown. A lot is being invested this year. Um, with the Panthers, you've got a new head coach, new GM, new everything. You've got to do something to help Bryce Young. And I don't think it's crazy to see a guy like Jatavian Sanders go off the board here. Maybe even, I guess, Tyler Guyton if you want to play tackle for you if you don't love, if you can just develop him and whatnot. A
Yeah,
lot you can do here. What do you think?
there's plenty. I think you have to help out Bryce Young, right? Like, just you got to invest somewhere, right? I think Keon Coleman is a really good football player, man. I think he's a
Yep.
really good football player. I think he could definitely go in the first round. I think he could definitely go to the Chiefs. I think he could definitely go to the Bills. I think he could go to the Lions. I think Keon Coleman. I don't know that he slips past 33. So I'm gonna go ahead and give the Panthers Keon Coleman there. And that'll do it for our draft right there. 33 picks, including that first pick in the second round, just to give Panthers fans. I know there's some of you out there that are bummed that you're not picking at one for some particular reason. Why you're not picking at one? You know, lots of reasons. Lots of reasons. Mainly because of Lovey Smith. That's why.
Shout out Lovie Smith. The gift that
Shout
keeps on
out
giving.
the gift that keeps on giving to Bears fans, right? So thank you guys so much for joining us on our mock draft 2.0. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys like the video if you guys like the content. Consider subscribing as well if you want to be around for more of this. And we're trying to get to 250, right? And we're close, man. If y'all could help us out, that would be absolutely fantastic. If you're not listening on YouTube and you're listening on Spotify, I would also encourage you to go over to YouTube, right? The production value, it's gone up last couple of weeks, as I mentioned previously. It's a little bit better these days. So I would encourage you to check us out. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. I think we did a good job today. If you guys are in the comments and you guys disagree with us or you've heard some insider information, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the comments. If you disagree with some of our takes, let us know. If you agree with some of our takes, let us know. If you want to see more of this kind of stuff, if you want to see a full 2-round mock draft, let us know, man. Let us know. We appreciate y'all. CD, anything from you before we get out of here?
No, like Matthew said, do all that stuff. Let us know, subscribe, like everything else. Continue supporting our channel. We love you guys. And thanks for watching.
Absolutely. We'll see y'all in the next one.